Welcome back. The government has confirmed that 2 civil servants have been arrested at number 6 Convent Place. This follows GBC questions to number 6 asking whether it could confirm that 2 security officers have been filmed by CCTV cameras taking drugs on the premises. The government has limited itself to saying that an internal investigation by the Office of the Chief Secretary has led to the arrest of 2 civil servants at number 6. The Royal Gibraltar Police is handling all matters relating to the investigation, and a spokesman said the Office of the Chief Secretary will handle the internal issues that arise with the Human Resources Department, although GBC understands the civil servants have been suspended. The spokesman added there would be no further comment in respect of this matter. Meanwhile, the RGP has confirmed to GBC that a 39-year-old local man and a 51-year-old woman have been arrested for possession of a controlled drug. A local man has been remanded with no bail after threatening to burn down City Hall with all its employees still inside. On the 29th of May this year, 29-year-old Carl Henry Danino rang up the housing department situated at City Hall. During that phone call, he threatened to burn down City Hall while all the employees were still inside. Mr. Danino is to appear next at the Supreme Court on the 2nd of September. A couple has been sent to prison for 3 weeks each for disrupting the peace at St. Bernard's Hospital. The incident dates back to July 2013, when Francesca Grosnay and Juan Espinosa became aggressive and verbally abusive to staff nurses whilst waiting for treatment in A&E. Espinosa was bleeding from a cut in his hand, and the pair had been waiting to see a doctor for an hour when they began threatening hospital employees. Their lawyer, Jeevan Daswani, described it as no more than an overreaction on their part, and the two pleaded guilty to making a disturbance and refusing to leave a public place. The Justice of the Peace said the safety of the public and employees at the hospital must be guaranteed and sentenced Grosnay and Espinosa to 3 weeks each. The full cost to the taxpayer of the Merashe fraud trial so far has been estimated at close to £6.3 million. The latest figures, including the cost of the prosecution, have been released in response to questions from GBC and the Gibraltar Chronicle. In addition to the over £3.8 million spent so far on fees for the defence, the cost of the prosecution and judges who've dealt with the case has been set at over £900,000. Nearly £640,000 has also been paid by the government to Grant Thornton as the authorised administrator of the collapsed law firm Merashe & Co. Over £360,000 worth of public funds have gone into defending judicial reviews and constitutional motions brought by Benjamin Solomon and Isaac Merashe, including a motion challenging the appointment of High Court Judge Sir Geoffrey Grigson. And nearly £530,000 was spent on legal assistance in civil matters resulting from the collapse of the law firm and arrest of the Merashe brothers. Last month, Benjamin Merashe was sentenced to 11 years in prison and Solomon and Isaac to 7 years for conspiracy to defraud millions of pounds from their clients. The case was classed as complex fraud following a recent change in legislation, allowing them to obtain extra funding for their defence. But they've been granted basic legal aid for the forthcoming appeal. Gibraltar experienced the warmest day of the year on Wednesday, with temperatures at 33.9 degrees Celsius. The Met Office has been keeping its followers on Twitter up to date with temperatures in the region. Some parts of inland Spain have seen 40 degrees or more, but the rock, due to exposure to sea breezes, has been spared the scorching heat. Michael Botrang spoke to meteorologist Stephanie Ball.
Well, the last few days, it always looked like Wednesday was going to be the peak of the warm air that we've seen over the last few days, which has been coming up from North Africa. It does look like that now, although we've seen 2 very hot days or very warm days, that over the next few days we're going to see things cooling off. So that'll be a relief for some people to see that sort of cooler temperatures coming down.
So how often or how rare, I suppose, is it to get, quite late warm days coming into the end of the summer, essentially, end of August?
It's not too rare, really. I mean, as you'll know with the UK, often you can get summer temperatures spilling into the autumn. So it's not too rare at all. But, I mean, overall, the hottest temperatures tend for ourselves to be in July, because easterlies always tend to be more predominant in August, which brings us our coolest temperatures. I mean, for Gibraltar, a lot has to do with the difference in wind. Easterlies bring much cooler and humid weather, but we switch westerly and we see some of our hottest temperatures.
You may have noticed some very small brown beetles in Gibraltar recently. This species of beetle is called the Lagria lata, and although known to the rock, this summer there seems to be more than ever. These brown and black tiny beetles might not be your cup of tea, but thankfully Lagria lata beetles are harmless and feed on dead plant matter.
It's one of Gibraltar's more common beetles. However, this year there are lots of them. They're extremely numerous this year, for reasons unknown. But whereas last year we were recording them on a daily basis, but in ones and twos, we're recording hundreds this year.
Native to Europe and the Mediterranean, including North Africa, the Lagria lata is one of Gibraltar's most common beetles.
These will have bred in Gibraltar, and in fact, if you go out at night in vegetated areas, you'll see their larvae all over the place. For whatever reason, the conditions this year must have been particularly favourable, because there are lots of adults and lots of larvae about.
Although harmless, many won't be keen on the creatures. However, we do know that they're attracted to the light. So if you find some crawlies creeping in tonight, take cover and turn off the lights. That's all we have time for tonight on News Review. For the rest of this week's news, you can also head over to our website, gbc.gi/news. Thank you for watching. Good night.